Yo, welcome back everybody to a brand new video here on the second channel. It's now time to look at every deck that got day 2 at the Stuttgart Regional Championships. Of course, Stuttgart just wrapped up and it's now time to look at all the decks in day 2. EU does like to innovate and make some pretty crazy stuff happen in their decks. I'm really hoping we get to see some innovations. Already looking at the top 8, there's already some pretty wacky stuff going on here in the top 8 of the tournament, but I'm definitely excited to look at all the decks. Of course, with Toronto coming up in less than 2 weeks, the results from Stuttgart are probably going to have an impact on that tournament, and I'm definitely excited to play in Toronto, and we'll see how it all goes down. But if you're new here to the second channel, make sure to subscribe down below. We're on the road to 19K subs, and I'll leave a link to Limos down below if you want to go check out any deck and build it for yourself. Yeah, so let's get into the video. So, of course, we did see a Charizard mirror in the finals. We see Arnie win the tournament with his Charizard deck. It's a pretty standard Zard 60. It's got the Unfair Stamp, the Turo, Briar, Thornton. Does play a Cleffa. But yeah, Zard is pretty good right now. I'm not surprised it won a tournament. A lot of people kind of undermine Charizard in our current format as having a bad matchup against Drago, though I think Zard can beat Drago if they go first. Obviously, going second's different, but going first against Drago, usually Zard, as long as it sets up, can beat it. And we did see Arnie win the tournament. Does play 4 Nest Ball in the deck, 4 Ultra Ball, just straight consistency. He's got the Unfair Stamp as the ace spec, has the Cleffa, and he was able to beat a Zardamir in the finals. We did see this Zard 60 a bit different, though. It does have the different Charmeleon, split of Pidgey, and also plays 2 Pokestop. Because there's so many items in the deck, like Buddy Poff and Candy, Counter Catcher, Stamp, Palpad, Vacuum. It makes sense to play Pokestop. It makes your deck a little bit more consistent at setting up, which makes sense. Though, unfortunately, we did see in the finals, the Pokestop was not very kind. So I'm not sure the Pokestop is optimal in Zard, but, it does make your deck set up more. And a lot of the time, Zard is beating most decks in the format if it sets up. And Zard still seems like a good meta call. Even going in Toronto, I don't think it's going to be a bad deck. I think it will probably be popular. It's pretty good against most stuff in the format, like Miraidon, Raging Bolt, Cloth, Lost Box, stuff like that. It can beat everything pretty much. There was a Palkia in top 4. Palkia Terapagos, however. It's a pretty straightforward beat stick deck. Just does big damage. Can trade really well into most decks right now. Does have the 2-2 Palkia. Does play a Judge in the deck. Has Kieran, Cologne, Thornton, some Spice. But just a consistent, strong attacking deck. Has the Noctowls to set you up. Find whatever you need. Has the Greninja Cologne combo. Yeah, pretty strong deck. Just Palkia Terapagos doing Palkia Terapagos things. Not playing the bugs in the deck. It's kind of the difference. There's no bugs in here, but it's just a nice, big attacking, V-Star beat stick deck. There was a Gardevoir in top 4 here. This one was kind of cool, though. It was playing Call Bell and Precious Trolley. Not the Unfair Stamp or the Secret Box we're used to. The Call Bell is very interesting because what you can do is if you go second, you can play it to get a supporter. This can get you an Arven, which the Arven can then turn into Trolley and TM Evo. So it just basically allows you to set up a lot more consistently in a match. And the nice thing with Call Bell is that it's easy refinement fodder later on in the game if you don't need them. So that's kind of the cool thing about playing the Call Bell in the deck. Really cool 60 with the Precious Trolley in there. Seems like Gardevoir's always changing its ace spec up from like Hero's Cape to Stamp to Secret Box now to Precious Trolley. We'll have to see if this Guardy list is good. Like the one thing the deck maybe is missing is that Klefki, which I'm sure Guardy wants to play Klefki right now, but it was still a cool 60 that got top 4, and the Call Bell is a really smart idea for sure. Definitely cool stuff. Now, the crazy one in the top 8 was, of course, the Dragapult Iron Thorns deck. This deck is quite a pile, but this deck actually ends up being pretty solid. We see Mads Denson with this deck actually ended up doing really good in day 1, 2 of the tournament. The idea of the deck is you slow down your opponent with Iron Thorns, obviously shut off abilities like Squawkabilly, Luminion, Charizard, Pidgeot, just to name a few. And of course, you do have the Dragapult in the deck. So you kind of lead off with Iron Thorns, and then you can kind of work towards your Dragapults in the later half of the game. Does play the Dracloaks in the deck for some draw. So you do have a bit of a draw engine, and of course, you have the 4 Crispin to build up your Iron Thorns. You just kind of sit there with Iron Thorns, and then you kind of clean up with Dragapult. I think that's the idea of the deck. Dragapult is pretty good right now against a lot of the decks like Lost Box, if you can set it up. Pretty good into the big basic decks, even like Miraidon and whatnot, and Cloth. And the big thing in the deck was probably the Toadscruel, which actually probably gave Mads a lot of easy wins. Toadscruel's ability is really good against a lot of the top decks right now. Toadscruel's ability shuts off Legacy Star. It shuts off Pokestop from working for your opponent, and it also stops the energy retrieval cards for Raging Bolt and for Goldengo. Also stops Night Stretcher, another very valuable card. So Toadscruel is just a very strong ability right now. And in this deck, the deck does play the TM Evo in the deck, so you can actually get it out like right away. You don't have to just bench Toadscruel, hope it lives, and then evolve it. You can actually just immediately evolve it through TM Evo, which helps set it up a lot more easily. Definitely a really cool deck. Plays Precious Trolley, you expect to set your board up. Crazy deck. And we'll have to see if this deck ends up doing good in the future. in Toronto. Now, there were 2 Goldengos in top 8. The first one was Owen Kammerman, who played a Palkia build of the deck. Does have the Energy Search Pro still in there because it's just too good of a card not to play. But Owen Kammerman did decide to play the Palkia Goldengo. I don't know how good the Palkia deck is over the other build that got top 8. We'll look at later. But Owen Kammerman is a very good player, so I'm sure his decision was correct. But yeah, really strong deck. Palkia is really good still. Getting to use Radiant Greninja as an attacker is nice. Even though you don't play Prime Catcher, you still have Counter Catcher and Boss Cologne. And we saw the Cloth Tropicos in top 8 played by Robin Schultz's deck is very good. Just did a video on it. So definitely check that out later on if you want. But this deck is very strong at just doing big damage. You got the Cloth hits for weakness into Miraidon. Tropicos with Binding Mochi Sneasler poison combo does 290 damage into stuff like the Regidragos. In fact, you can knock them out with poison damage, which stop Pheasantipity. In fact, a lot of the cards in this deck can stop Pheasantipity from working because of the extra poison damage you do through Sneasler and Brute Bonnet. Petron's really good too against the evolving deck. Sometimes you can literally win a free game with it if your opponent doesn't bench anything else and you go first. And then, of course, Petron can also knock out little Pokemon into the Charizard matchup to stop them from playing Pheasantipity, which is what makes the baby Petron so good. Robin did play the Genesect. We saw that in the online tournaments too. Genesect does show off Prime Catcher, Unfair Stamp, Precious Trolley, stuff like that to slow your opponent down. The deck already plays like a jillion tool cards, so you kind of just naturally can play the Genesect in the deck. And finally, we did see Torn in top 8 with the Togekiss Goldengo deck. Now, unlike the one from Sacramento, this one plays a 2-2 line of Togekiss, so really ramping up the Togekiss in the deck. Just trying to get out as quick as possible so that you can use the ability as much as possible. Of course, Wonder Kiss can sometimes just win you the game on the spot when you flip heads. That lucky heads can decide the fate of the match right then and there. Goldengo is just really strong and consistent. I'm not surprised to see it continue to do good. There were 2 in top 8, 2 different builds. So if you're somebody who's looking to play Goldengo to Toronto, you definitely want to probably start testing both versions of the deck, Owens and Torns List, seeing which one you like best right now in the format. And then outside the top 8, there was a Dragapult Dusknoir deck here. Dragapult was pretty good for this tournament, right? You know, Charizard did good, Cloth's doing good, you know, Dragapult's pretty good. And then we do see it's the Dusknoir build. No Pidgeot, no Testagear either, just like a very straightforward list of Dragapult. There was another Guardian top 16 here. This one did play Klefki, also had the Secret Box in deck. No research or anything, no candy, just Secret Box just in there to help with the consistency. There was a Drago, however, in top 16. It was not in top 8, which was kind of surprising considering how popular it was and how many players were on it. But Drago still got top 16. This one does have the Gudra and the Exeggutor, which I think are probably going to be mainstays in Drago going forward. They seem pretty good right now. There's a Cloth in top 16 too. This one does not play the Genesect that Robin played. Does have a double Pekrunt though. Like I said, Cloth had a very good run in this tournament. Another Zard in top 16. This one also playing the Unfair Stamp. Another just very straightforward build of Charizard here. But again, Charizard doesn't need to do anything too crazy in this format. There was a Turbo Moon in top 16, which is kind of cool to see. We've been seeing Turbo Moon do pretty good recently. It does have a few tech cards, like that Koraidon, being a nice backup attacker that's a fighting type, and then has the Baby Pekrunt, which can, of course, poison, retreat, lock the opponent, which can be very good in matchups where your opponent doesn't play any switching cards. So the Baby Pekrunt ends up being very good in the deck, too. If your opponent has no way to stop it, again, it can just retreat lock your opponent with its attack and then also poison them, which is pretty cool. So you can do a lot of really cool things with Baby Pekrunt. Baby Pekrunt's pretty good right now in the format, it turns out. Another Zard in top 16. A lot of Charizard doing good in this tournament, which is interesting to see, considering how good Drago was. But Charizard maybe just kind of was able to go around all the Drago decks, and all those Drago decks maybe got weeded out a little bit, which could be why that did happen. Of course, we always got to have a Snorlax in top 16. It was playing the Rotom, does play the Pidgeot Enriching Energy kind of mini draw engine in the deck, which is also pretty cool to see. Outside the top 16, there was another Roaring Moon. This one did not play the Pekrunt Baby, but it did play the double Koraidon double Baby Moon. So try to lean into the single prize attackers a little bit more. Another Drago here in top 32. Does have Gudra, Dragapult, no Exeggutor though. And then another Cloth Tropicos. No Genesect in this one, but does have the double Pekrunt. I feel like the list for this is like kind of optimized, like pretty standard 60 we're going to see from the deck going forward. So yeah, another Drago played by Tord here. Did get top 32, I think. Or wait, am I trolling? It's Tord, right? Yeah, Tord. Okay, I was just making sure. It's just something else. All right. But yeah, we do have Tord in top 32. Did play a lot of dragons. Had Gudra, Haxorus, Dragapult, and Exeggutor. Just had a wide variety of attackers. Interesting to see him playing the Haxorus in the deck when you already have the Exeggutor, which kind of do similar things in the matchups you want them to do them in. But maybe Tord was trying to tech more for like Lugia. I don't know. It is good in Tropicos, but then you also have the Exeggutor. But it's Tord. You know, pretty good 60 there. Another Cloth, Tropicos, with the double Oranguru this time, and only one Pekrunt in that build. So trying to be a little bit more consistent. We got another Drago. It's just literally Drago, Cloth, Drago, Cloth, Drago, Cloth. Another Drago with no Executor here in top 32. And then we have another Cloth. This one is the normal version of Cloth. I guess not even the normal build, just kind of like the classic build of Cloth, not playing Terapagos in the deck. Still did pretty good. Does have the Tomb in the deck to slow the opponent down, which is quite interesting. Then we had another Charizard here. Charizard just did pretty good this tournament. Pretty surprising to see that. Then we had another Drago. No Executor in this build. We had our first Lost Box list here in top 32. Lost Box is still, like, really good right now. It just really sucks against Drago, right? Like, this deck would probably have a lot better placements if Drago did not exist. I don't know. Like, it hasn't been able to do better than top 32 so far since Surging Sparks meta has come out. Will Lost Box finally do better than top 32 in Toronto? We'll have to see on that one, but it is interesting to see it. This build does play the classic stuff, the Pikachu Hands Bear. Not really anything too crazy. I mean, you don't really have to do too much with the Pika Lost Box deck. But I will say this, it literally can beat everything in the format except for Drago. Like, it's pretty good into, like, most stuff. It's good into Cloth Tropicos. It's good into Goldango. It's really good. It's probably going to be able to beat Dragapult, to be honest with you, too, because they don't play Manaphy. Like, it's just a very strong deck that can beat a lot of stuff, but it's just that Drago matchup is abysmal. Then another Cloth here. With the Trapagos. And we have another Dragapult Dusknoir in top 32. This one did play the Tatsugiri in the deck. Another Drago here with the Executor. And another Cloth Trapagos that made up most of the top 32. Cloth, Drago, Charizard, and Trapagos. This is pretty funny stuff. It's just kind of crazy. We got another... Oh, whoops, I think I already looked at that. Yeah, I am. I'm trolling. After that, we do have a Arcaludon in top 32. Arcaludon Dialga made top 32. Pretty cool stuff. Interesting, too, the Ace-Spec being Precious Trolley in the deck. To set up your board. But yeah, Arcaludon has a lot of potential, I think. It's definitely a pretty good deck. It just, we have to figure out the best way to play it. This one does play the Call Bell in the deck, too, alongside for Arven, Turbo Energize, and Vitality Man, really trying to just ramp up that super fast Dialga, which makes sense. I kind of like that build, actually. A lot of cool innovations there. And then we had a Tropicos in top 32. Did play one Kyurem in the deck, so really trying to get a cheese win into Lost Box, which is pretty funny. I think Lost Box is pretty decent now they have Bouffalant on the deck, because you can just put double Boof down and they can't Greninja you and stuff. But, you know, the Kyurem can sometimes just get random KOs out of nowhere. Could be good in a Cloth too, I guess, right? Because they do play Colress Tenacity. Speaking of Cloth, we had another Cloth here. That one played Tatsugiri. There actually is some other interesting Cloth lists we'll look at soon, I think. Another Pikachu Lost Box. This one does have a Spiritomb and a Terapagos EX in the deck. Trying to use Terapagos, I guess, for that Crown Opal attack to slow down the opponent. Makes sense. It's not the worst thing ever. I'm not sure I like it, but it's cool. And we got another Drago here. No Executor there. Another Charizard. Playing Prime Catcher as the Ace-Spec over the Unfair Stamp. Then we have another Goldango here with the Togekiss. Only a 1/1 line of Togekiss this time around, though. So kind of similar to what we saw in Sacramento. We got another Zard here. Yep, Unfair Stamp stuff. Got another Cloth deck here with Terapagos. And we have another Archaludon deck, but this one had the Dialga and the Starmie. So cool, a lot more innovation in this one. It's got the Scramble Switch as the Ace-Spec 2, plays Fez, Luminion. Yeah, Dialga could be the best way to play Archaludon. Like, Archaludon feels like it is missing something to be an actual, like, better deck. It is getting pretty decent placement still. Like, it's doing a lot better than most of the other new EX cards from Surging Sparks. You could make an argument it's even doing better than attacking Pikachu decks. Well, I mean, it's been Rhydon, but you get my point, right? So Archaludon could be legit. We're just waiting for somebody to crack it. Then we got another Snorlax here with Rodon, Plain Hero's Cape, double Ogre Pawn, another Regidrago here. And then in top 64, there was a Lugia. Now, I am surprised to see Lugia underperform. I actually don't think the deck is that bad right now. Yes, it's not great into Miraidon, which is obviously a little scary, but Iron Thorns is on the down low. I want to see, I guess, how that Dragapult deck does going forward, but I do think Lugia is actually not in a bad spot right now. I think people are sleeping on Lugia right now, and it's definitely not a terrible deck. This one, pretty straightforward. It has triple Cinccino, no Squawk or anything, no Raikou, no Weirdeer, just like straight up onto the Cinccino. We got another Turbo Moon. It's got the Crydon Baby Peck in there, too. Another Lost Box here, played by Brendan Kammerman, who likes to play a lot of Lost Box. Was able to get top 64 with the Pikachu Lost Zone deck. Pretty standard stuff. Instead of Roxanne, did opt to play Silene, which is kind of interesting. Silene's pretty good with Pikachu, because you can, like, put Mirage Gate on top to do, like, a double attack if you get Iono'd, which is kind of nice. Another Zard deck here. Let's see. Another Goldango. Let's go. This one also playing the Togekiss. Does have a 2/1 Togekiss Togepi line in the deck. We got another Charizard here with Unfair Stamp. Plays Cleffa, yeah, pretty standard stuff. And we have our first Ancient Box. I don't think Ancient Box is bad right now. I guess if you want to classify that like Turbo Moon deck as Ancient Box, it does have extra Ancient cards, but this is like straight up Ancient Box, right? You're trying to attack with Baby Moon. You're playing the 4 Flutter, mainly Explorer's Guidance. That, to me, is what Ancient Box deck is. But this one does play the Moon EX in the deck, though there is no there's no Dark Patch, but it does play Thornton, which I guess is kind of the way you can kind of put the Moon into play. But you can also use Thornton with Tuscan stuff out of nowhere to like make a sneaky play. Then we have our Bayonet Gardevoir in top 64. Another deck that I don't think is as good as it was last format, but I'm not surprised to see it still have decent placements. It's still a very good deck, right? It can do a lot of good things. Item lock is very strong. Some people just don't know how to play against it properly, and sometimes that's enough to like sneak out some easy victories. Another Turbo Moon. No, Baby Peck is playing the double Koraidon. Another Drago here with the Regidrago and the Gudra. And then we have another Zard. Let's see here. Zard with Prime Catcher this time, too. Cool stuff. And we have another Dragapult Iron Thorns here. This one did play a little bit different of attackers. It does have the 1/1 for Farigiraf, really good against Raging Bolt, and then had the 1 of Cornerstone Ogerpon. So really try to lean more into being an annoying wall deck here. Did do decent. Got top 64. This deck actually had a good showing this weekend. We got a Lugia in top 64 here. Pretty standard list, yeah. We see the Squawk, the Weird Ear, the Wellspring in there, the triple Cinccino still in the deck. Another Cloth here. The big innovation in this one was the Baby Regidrago, which is smart. When you have Latias in play and you get Iono'd, you have not only Fez, but also Drago to try to draw a lot of cards. Sometimes I can see you like 7 cards in a turn before you even do like a supporter, which is honestly really clever. Very smart inclusion for sure. Another Ancient Box in top 64 with the Moon EX. Let's play the Dark Patch. A couple more Dragos here to look at. Let's quickly skim through these. Both got the Exeggutor in there. Another Terapagos Dusknoir deck here in day 2. We had a very cool Pidgeot Sylveon deck in day 2 played by Emma. Now, this deck actually was on stream, so you want to see a bit of gameplay of it, definitely check it out. But it's a really interesting 60. It's not really a control deck. It does have, like, some control elements. I guess you can count Sylveon and Wellspring Ogerpon, but it's a bit different than that. It's got a lot more moving pieces. Probably a bit harder to play, but it does play Radiant Charizard and Blood Moon. It's got the Sylveon EX in there. Sylveon's really cool. First Limitless page, I think, for Sylveon EX, which is nice. Does have the Farigiraf. Like, there is some things going on in the deck for sure, but it is really cool and definitely a fascinating way to play the Sylveon Pidgeot deck. Maybe something that I got to try out here on the channel. So I really like the idea of it. Then we got another Cloth here in the top 64. We had a Palkia Dusknoir in top 64, a deck that I'm kind of surprised to see also underperform. We did see the Palkia Terapagos in top 4, but the Palkia Dusknoir deck has been underperforming, which, not going to lie, is a little surprising to see. Then we have, of course, the Pidgeot control here into the top 64, and this one did play the Kyurem in the deck for the Dragon stuff. It was played pretty well, so cool. That was the top 64. Outside the top 64, we had a Snorlax deck with a 1 of Durant. Yo, Durant got a Limitless page. Let's go. You play it down from your hand, discard the top card of your opponent's deck. It's like a pseudo-mill card. Pretty funny stuff to see for sure. And then we got another Charizard here with a 1 of Delphox. Very interesting. Try to get cheap snipe KOs. You're playing a Charizard, you're not usually benching Manaphy, right? Now, Lugia here with Klefki. See, I like that. If Lugia is going to be good right now, I feel like you got to play Klefki just to try to stop Miraidon and even Cloth to a degree. Like, usually Lugia can beat those matchups if you get a setup, and Klefki can give you that 1 turn to try to set up. So I do like the idea of Klefki and Lugia right now. Another Terapagos here, and ooh, giving Slacking a Limitless page is awesome. Actually, a very cool Terapagos list is playing Dusknoir, but also has Togekiss and Slacking in the deck. Very cool stuff. So yeah, we got Slacking, Durant, and Sylveon, Limitless pages. Pretty cool stuff. That's pretty awesome to see. See, I knew EU would innovate. Now, surprisingly, the highest place in Miraidon list was outside the top 64. Now, this deck, I think, is still very good. And honestly, there's still a good chance Miraidon is going to be very popular in Toronto. Like, I'm not going to write off Miraidon just yet. Just because it didn't do good in Stuttgart doesn't mean it's not going to do good in Toronto. One of the reasons why Miraidon, I think, flopped was because there was so much Cloth, which just destroys that deck. And I think Miraidon will still do good in Toronto. Like, 100% Miraidon is still going to be played in Toronto. I just think that maybe Stuttgart wasn't the right tournament for it, but I would not be surprised if Miraidon had a good run in Toronto. Also, Zard was doing good this tournament. Like, all the Zard and Cloth, I feel like just kind of farmed all the Miraidon out of the tournament, which is why we saw it underperform there. Got Drago, got another Snorlax here, another Miraidon below it with the double Pikachu. Then we had a Charizard Noctowl in day 2. Still surprised to see this deck not do as well as the normal Charizard list. This deck is very strong and consistent because of Noctowl. Like, Noctowl makes you do some insane turn 2s. It's just crazy how strong this deck actually is. Like, usually that deck, if it goes first, is just winning all the time. And then, of course, another Drago. We got a Gouging Fire, kind of underperforming. Not surprised, or I'm kind of surprised, sorry, to see that. I think this deck's actually pretty underrated right now. Surprised to see it not doing as good this time around. But yeah, maybe all the Charizard and Claw for just scaring it off. Another Lost Box here, another Pikachu Lost Box. Got the bundle in there. Another Ancient Box. Playing a lot of Koraidon. It's got both Koraidons in the deck, actually. The new one and the old one. Another Drago. Another Terapagos, Pidgeot, Dusknoir deck here. Another Charizard. And then below that, we have another Charizard Noctowl deck. The Entei is definitely an interesting inclusion for sure. Yeah, I'm really surprised to see this deck not do as well. I feel like not enough players are really trying that deck out because I feel like it is really good. We have a very interesting Mimikyu attacking stall deck here. There's no Snorlax. The retreat lock strat is to use Wellspring Ogerpon, but you can also donk with Wellspring Ogerpon with Torrential Pump. Very interesting list, just attacking control, played by Alessandro Cremascoli, the control king himself. We got another very cool Tropicos list playing a very thick line of Dusknoir. So really trying to use Dusknoir as much as you can there. Another Dragapult Thorns in day 2. This one was the same 60s one we saw earlier with the Ogerpon and the Farigiraf. Another Miraidon here. Another Pidgeot control deck here. It's got the Black Kyurem, the Noivern in the deck. Another Ancient Box with a Monkey Dory. That's cool to see. I guess that would help a little bit against like Dragapult and stuff, and Drago, which I feel like can be tough to beat. Another Zard. Another Turbo Moon. It's got the Baby Peck in there and the new Koraidon. Another Cloth Terapagos with that one of Drago technology. We got another Arcrowlet on day 2. This one not playing Dialga, just opting for the Starmie. He does play Max Belt as the Ace spec for more damage output. Yeah, a couple of Arcrowlet on day 2. Surprisingly, the highest placing Raging Bolt also is 95th place. Another deck that I'm surprised to see flop a little bit. I guess like the meta was very prepared for it, the Cloth and stuff, and Charizard probably weeded it out. I would have expected the deck to do a bit better because of Drago. Now, going into Toronto, I still think Raging Bolt is still a good play because Drago will still be very much played in Toronto. Like, just because Drago didn't get top 8 doesn't mean the deck is bad. So, I'm surprised to see Raging Bolt not do as good. And Miraidon. I guess the big base decks really just got weeded out by all the Cloth and Charizard. I feel like that's just kind of what happened there. Another Guardy here with the Klefki playing the Spiritomb. It's just a turbo build. Another Miraidon here played by Omnipoke, Joe Bernard himself. Got the Tropicos Dusknoir deck once again. Another Turbo Moon with the new Koraidon. And then we got a bunch of Cloth here back to back. We got Rahul on Cloth. Then we got another Cloth played by Christian Fontenot, who actually won last year's Stuttgart Regionals. Tried to run it back with another dub. Got the Regidrago technology in there. Another Palkia Dusknoir here in day 2. A couple more Ancient Box lists here, it looks like. Yeah, Ancient Box, got the Koraidon. We got another Ancient Box with the double Koraidon and playing the Moon. And we got a bunch of Regidragos back to back. All right, let's quickly skim through these real quick. So we got Drago with the Goodra and the eggs. Goodra with the Haxorus and the eggs. Actually, same 60 as what Tord played, it looks like. And then we got another Drago here with the eggs. And we got another Charizard. We have a pretty standard list. Another Cloth Terapagos. Just running hot this tournament. Pretty crazy to see. We got another Terapagos. This one also playing that Regidrago we've been seeing from the old format. The Drago V-Star to get Legacy Star to make more combo pieces happen. It gives you more resources in a game, right? Because of Legacy Star. We got a couple more Dragos here we can quickly look at. Yeah, I got the eggs and the Goodra in there. Another Snorlax. The Rotom lists Snorlax with that Miracle headset in the deck as the Ace spec. We got another Lugia in day 2 here. It's got the Squawk, the double Cinccino, hands, Weird Ear, and stuff like that. Another Tropicos Dusknoir. And then we got a couple more Arcrowletons. We got one here with the Dialga and the Starmie. Dangerous Laser as the Ace spec. I mean, I guess what you can do with Dangerous Laser is you can technically knock something out with poison damage and burn damage to get around Fez. So, like, Iono Laser knockout with Arcrowleton is honestly kind of clever. Yeah, it's a really interesting idea. Huh. It's an interesting way to play Dangerous Laser, actually. Kind of cool stuff. We got another Zard and another Arcrowleton below it with the Cologne Vitality Band and stuff. And then, cool enough, we got Conkeldurr in day 2. Love to see it. Actually, Conkeldurr with Pidgeot. Yeah, Conkeldurr is kind of like Cloth in a way where you're just doing big damage with special conditions. But Conkeldurr can do even more damage. It does 250 damage, and of course, it can attack for 0 energy when it's affected by a special condition. So you just go Brute Bonnet, and then you go Conkeldurr, and you can do like upwards of 300 plus damage. In fact, the deck does play Gravity Mountain, try to reach those high numbers. You got Binding Mochi in the deck, the Sneasler Brute Bonnet combo. You're just knocking out like everything almost with Conkeldurr, which is crazy. Like even those big Stage 2 Pokemon get 1 KO by Conkeldurr. Is it better than Cloth? It's not as fast and consistent as Cloth is, but it does have better damage output than Cloth is. Then we got another Drago. And that might be Conkeldurr's first Limitless page too, actually, which is kind of cool to see. A lot of first-time Limitless pages in this tournament. Got another Turbo Moon. We got another Goldengo here in day 2 with that one of Tokus, kind of like the one in Sacramento. Another Snorlax with no Rotom. Got another Miraidon day 2. And, of course, you know, we got a Hydreigon in day 2. Again, I'm not surprised to see it make day 2. It's a deck that definitely can make it to day 2. How good is it still? Obviously, Drago is just a bad matchup, but it does play the Eerie. He's got a bit of control in the deck, got the league headquarters in there. I like Hydreigon I feel like Hydreigon, sorry, would be pretty decent right now into the Cloth, and even the Charizard if you maybe played a Devo with the Eerie. So, really cool to see some Hydreigon in day 2. We'll see if there's any more in day 2. Another Raging Bolt below it. Another Turbo Moon with the Pekron and the baby Koraidon. We got another Cloth here, just doing good. No Drago on that one, but still Cloth doing Cloth things. Got another Guardy with another Turbo build, okay. And then we got another Drago, got the Exeggutor and the Goo in there. Turbo Moon below it, once again, with the Koraidon. Another Tropicos Pidgeot, Dusknoir deck. Another Turbo, well, actually, it's Ancient Box. We got an Ancient Box deck below it. And then we got another Tropicos below that. Or Drago, sorry. I think I clicked on the wrong deck. Yeah, I think I did. Okay, yeah, there we go. We got Charizard with Hero's Cape. Interesting. Hero's Cape doesn't seem bad. I mean, it's pretty good into, like, Miraidon and stuff, because you can deny the Raichu KO, so they can't 2-2-2 use easily. It's really good into Drago, obviously, so that, like, even Ogerpon, Teal Mask Ogerpon can't KO the Charizard. Not a bad idea within Charizard. The problem is you're just not playing, like, Stamp or Trolley, which kind of help you set up right, but it's cool. Another Snorlax here. Another Palkia Dusknoir below that. We got another Drago here with the eggs and the Dragapult and stuff. The Goodra. Another Pikachu Lost Box. Yeah, pretty standard stuff. It's got the Fez in there for some extra draw. And we got a Shenpao in day 2. I mean, it got day 2. I actually got top 16 in Sacramento. Not surprised to see it not do as good this time. Shenpao feels pretty bad into the aggressive meta with Drago and Cloth and stuff being really good. But it's still a decent deck, don't get me wrong. Greninja's nice too. No hands, though, but yeah, still Shenpao doing Shenpao things. Another Mimikyu-less, or I keep calling it Mimikyu-less, Rotom-less Snorlax deck. Crazy. Another Dragapult Dusknoir. I haven't seen Dragapult Pidgeot yet. We got another Snorlax with that one of Durant, giving Durant that Luminous page is pretty crazy. Another Tropicos Cloth deck. Another normal, like, no Tropicos-less Cloth deck below it. Another Drago here. A couple more Lugias here to look at. Lugia with Fluttermane, and then we got another Lugia below that. Just double Cinccino, weirder, no Squawk or anything in there. Another Drago. Another Raging Bolt with a Kyurem. Oh my god. Kyurem and Minior really trying to tech for what's in the meta. Really trying to beat Snorlax and beat Lost Box. That's pretty funny. The Kyurem's definitely not a bad idea though, because again, if you're playing against Bolt, you're not benching Manaphy. Got another Tropicos Noctowl deck there. Another Charizard here, playing the Prime Catcher as the Ace Spec in this build, and playing the 1/1 Bibarel for some extra draw. Cool stuff. Got another Drago here. It's got the eggs. Got another Lost Box here. Another Pika Lost Box. Got the bundle in there. In that build, yeah, we got another Lugia with the Fluttermane. Another Tropicos Dusknoir deck here. Another Zard below it. Playing the Maxim Belt. Interesting. I don't hate the idea of Max Belt either. It's better to, like, mirror, obviously pretty good into Dragapult. And you can just Max Belt your opponent to take a knockout without even needing to pop Dusknoir or your opponent taking a prize, which can be very devastating sometimes when your opponent doesn't expect it. Then we got another Drago. We got another attacking, a wall style deck here. It's got the Mimikyu, the Cornerstone, the Wellspring and stuff in there. A couple more Snorlaxes below it. We got the Rotom-less Snorlax. There you go. I got it right this time. And then we got the Rotom Snorlax build below that. A couple of Dragapult Dusknoirs. That one had Pidgeot in it. All right, that one did play Pidgeot. And then this one doesn't play Pidgeot. We got a Quad Thorns in day 2. Again, I'm not surprised to see the deck kind of flop this time. Also, with Cloth being really popular, that feels like a pretty bad matchup. I know, like, you can shut off a lot of their engine, which is really good, but I just feel like once they set up a Cloth, it's just like they can just run through you pretty easily. But I don't know, I could be wrong. Another Dragapult here with the Dusknoir. Whoops, I skipped through a couple other decks. Got an Ancient Box. And then we had another Tropicos-less Cloth deck. And then we had Zard. And then above that, we had a Lost Box. Pikachu deck once again. Let's see here. Another Ancient Box with the Binding Mochi Bubonic combo is kind of cool. And then we got another Miraidon. Yeah, it's crazy to see Miraidon flop. But again, all the Cloth and stuff was weeded out, I guess. Makes sense. But I do expect Miraidon to be very good in Toronto. We'll talk more about that later on in a future video on the second channel. Another Quad Thorns here in day 2. Another Snorlax that was above it. It was another Rotom-less Snorlax. Another Tropicos Dusknoir deck. Another Tropicos-less Cloth deck. And then we have another Tropicos. A lot of Tropicos in day 2, to be honest with you. Then we got another Drago. And then look at that. We got the first ever Luminous page for Ceruledge EX. I knew it was going to happen. All right, look, the deck didn't do that great this tournament. It looks like it didn't do that well, but I'm surprised to see it took this long to get a Luminous page. Like, it's a good deck. Like, I think the deck is legit. Maybe it's just not the right meta for it. It's very similar to, like, Goldengo. Maybe it's worse than Goldengo. The deck can't really run Togekiss like Goldengo can. I don't know. Ceruledge is really strong. surprised again, it took this long to get a Limos page, but it's really cool to see it finally get that Limos page, and hopefully we see it continue to get Limos pages going forward. Another Goldengo with the 1/1 Togekiss. Another Raging Bolt here with a lot of ancient attackers, Slitherwing, Koraidon, and Sandy Shocks. Another Pikachu Lost Box with no hands, the big technology. We got another Charizard. Another Pikachu Lost Box here with the Gravity Mountain. Another Drago was above that. Skipping over a lot of decks here. I gotta stop doing that, man. Another Ancient Box with triple Koraidon. It's kind of crazy. Another Guardy here. Turbo Guardy looks like, yep. And let's see, we got another Raging Bolt. Let's see, we Raging Bolt. We got Pidgeot Control. Yeah, there you go, Pidgeot Control. It's got the Noivern, got the Black Human there. The whole Stall Enchilada. Let's see. Another Raging Bolt. Another attack, yeah, another Cloth Terapagos deck. And then we got another Hydreigon in day 2. Let's go. This one also playing the Eerie in the deck. No League Headquarters, though. But yeah, it's cool to see the Hydreigon in day 2. A couple of Hydreigon in day 2 is pretty cool to see. It's not as good. Didn't do as good, but it's cool to see it make day 2 regardless. Another Raging Bull. We got a Gouging Fire in day 2. Really surprised to see Gouging Fire not do as good. Like I said, I feel like the deck's kind of underrated right now. But again, it could have been scared off by all the Cloth, right? That could have been the main reason why. Another Pikachu Lost Box here. I'm trying to see if there's any other Lost Box decks that are not just Pikachu, but I don't know. Let's see. Another Regidrago. See. Then we got a Goldengo below that. This one got the Scizor and the Togekiss in the deck for backup. And let's go. We got another Conkeldurr in day 2. 2 in day 2. Different 60 actually from we saw. This one's not playing the Pidgeot that the other build was playing. This has Grant in the deck. Cool stuff. Yeah, Conkeldurr in day 2 is pretty sick. Another Drago. Let's see. Another Lost Box below that. Yeah, another Pikachu Lost Box with the Silene. Another Raging Bolt here. Another Shampound day 2 playing the Greninja and the Kyogre. No hands. Another Quad Thorns in day 2. Another Dragapult, but this time it is Dragapult Pidgeot with the double Dusknoir in there. So that one did play it. Another attacking wall deck, playing the one of Cramorant, which is nice. Another Snorlax, got the Rotom in there. Another Gouging Fire, got Latias, new Koraidon, stuff like that. Another Tropicos Dusknoir, and then we got another Lost Box here. There's another Pikachu Lost Box deck. And then we got another Zard with the Unfair Stamp. And then below that, we got another Goldengo with the Togekiss. Cool stuff. Yeah, similar to what we saw in Sacramento. And we got another Ceruledge. There's 2 Ceruledge in day 2. This one had the Screamtail EX in the deck, which is kind of interesting. So you only need to attack if you go second. And only during your first turn, your opponent can't play any supporters from their hand. So you just try to stop your opponent from doing anything on their second turn, and then you just run them over with the Ceruledge. It's kind of the idea behind the Screamtail. Really cool idea, for sure. Is that Screamtail's first Limos page? I'm not too sure, but it might be. Let's see, we got another Turbo Moon. It's got the Koraidon in there. Another Snorlax with the Rotom in there. A couple more Turbo Moons. Quickly look at these. Yeah, Turbo Moons, Koraidon, stuff like that. Another Gouging Fire. There's actually a decent amount of Gouging Fire. Just didn't do as good. Sad to see. Another Miraidon. See another Cloth Terapagos. Holy moly. So much Cloth this tournament. Cloth just dominated Stuttgart, man. That's crazy. Crazy stuff. We got another Ancient Box. Another Lost Box. Yeah, another Lost Box Pikachu. Another Charizard here. Just got the Unfair Stamp for the Ace-Spec. Another Gardevoir. Another Turbo Guardy list, it looks like. Another Raging Bolt. Ancient Box showing up again with the double Koraidon. Then we got another Charizard here, playing Unfair Stamp and stuff, the Yuge. And then we got another Pikachu Lost Box here in day 2. With the Defiance Band, that's interesting. I guess like Defiance Band lets you one-shot a Charizard and stuff, like taking out the stage 2s with Pikachu EX makes sense. Another Dragapult Thorns. This one, ooh, same 60, or actually very similar to 60 to what Mads played. Instead, it had a Klefki in the deck to help slow the opponent down. Okay, that was like the one card difference. Interesting. Yeah, I think Klefki's pretty good, especially for this tournament when there's a lot of Cloth going around. Klefki's pretty good into Cloth. We got another couple Roaring Moon Ancient decks here. Another Arc Rally on day 2 with the Dialga V-Star. A bit different than the other builds, but does have the Prime Catcher. So yeah, decent amount of Arc Rally on. Then we have another Ceruledge in day 2. So at least 3 Ceruledge were in day 2. And it looks like they were all on the Palkia train. We got Dragapult Dusknoir. Another Ancient Box. And then we got another Raging Bull below it. And then below that, we got yet another Goldengo with the one of Togekiss. And we got a Miraidon here once again. And we got, whoops, attacking Walls deck here with the Milotic. So it was the Milotic Noivern Cornerstone Ogerpon and Friends Wall deck. A bit different than the Mimikyu build. And then we got another Rotom Snorlax deck playing a Prime Catcher. That's interesting. Cool stuff. Let's see. An Arc Ralladon below with the triple Luxray. That's cool. A lot of the Japan lists actually are playing Arc Ralladon with this Luxray before this tournament. It's a cool card where if it's in your hand, When you're set up, you can play it face down as your active Pokemon. This can actually be your starter Pokemon, which is kind of interesting. You just have to start with it, of course, which is like the big difference. Another Cloth, another Raging Bolt. We got another Miraidon. And then let's go. We got ourselves a Pikachu Reggie deck in day 2. The deck did get day 2 in Sacramento. This time it also got day 2 here. A bit different than the list we saw without. It's not playing the Cypher Maniac and stuff from the Sac build. But it is cool to see the Reggie deck still make day 2. Got another Cloth here with the Cobalion. Pardon me for the extra damage. Got another Sarah Legend day 2 with Palkia playing Legacy Energy. That might have been the one that was actually. Was it on stream? Might have been on stream. I know there was a Sarah Legend on stream in day 1. Another Arcrowlodon Dialga in day 2. Cool. Another Snorlax here. Another Roaring Moon Turbo deck. Another Charizard. Unfair Stamp. Cool stuff. We got another Pidgey Control with the Black Kyurem, Plain Secret Box, Small Wild, stuff like that. And then more Raging Bolts. Yeah, another Raging Bolt. Another Charizard below it with Unfair Stamp and stuff. And we got another Raging Bolt here. And then below that, we have another Archaludon with a Bayonet. Yo, that's kind of cool. A lot of really interesting Archaludon 60s here. So once got Bayonet to get your supporter cards back, let you reuse Turo over and over again, which is kind of cool. Especially when you get Iono'd, because then the Bayonet's just in play, right? Cool stuff. A couple Ancient Box to look at. And then we got a couple more Raging Bulls here we can quickly look at. We're almost done here. So many decks. There's 303 players in day 2, just kind of insane. Another Regidrago. Another Lugia here in day 2. Another Snorlax below it with the Rotom and the Enriched Energy. And we got another Lugia here in day 2 with the triple Cinccino and stuff. And then we got another Pikachu Lost Box with a Ditto. Try to get you that extra comfy start. Kind of cool stuff. A couple more Cloth Terapicos below it with the Kyurem in there to try to beat those Lost Box decks. And I guess technically can be good in Mirror and under the right circumstances. Got another Drago there. Another Raging Bolt. Another Regidrago. And triple Goldengo. Holy moly, a lot of Goldengos. This one's got Dusknoir in the deck. The Boom. And then we got another Goldengo with Togekiss. And then we got another Goldengo here with the double Togekiss, kind of like we saw in top 8. Another Zard, got the Unfair Stamp. Gardevoir. Looks like Turbo Guardy with the Secret Box and stuff. Another Goldengo with the Palkia and the Togekiss. See, I've been trying out this idea. However, this deck is not playing the Energy Search Pro. I do like the idea, though, of combining Palkia and Togekiss, kind of combining the two together. It's honestly not a bad idea, for sure. I've definitely been experimenting with that myself, though I'm not sure I like it. Another Regidrago. Then we got another attacking Milotic Walls deck with Ogerpon and Noivern. We got another Guardy with double Klefki, double Drifloon, and a Mimikyu, so trying to be a little bit more disruptive there. And then we got another Terapagos Charizard Noctowl deck. Another Miraidon. Another Goldengo with the double Togekiss and the Monkey Dory. Kind of cool stuff to see. And then, interestingly, we got Christian, who doesn't have like an icon, but this deck is crazy. We got a Noctowl box deck, I guess is what you call it. It's got Pikachu EX, Kyurem, Wellspring Ogerpon, Rotom, Terapagos. So many crazy stuff in this deck. Devo, like, it is a crazy pile. But it is kind of cool to see this in day 2. Like, just a wacky deck. We got the Raging Bolt. A couple more Dragos here to round things out. And then, yeah, finally, outside of that, we got ourselves an Iron Thorns to round out day 2. But there you go. Those are all the decks that made day 2 at Stuttgart. A lot of new cards actually getting in the first limits pages here. Sarah Ledge, Sylveon, Durant EX. So that's kind of cool to see. But, yeah, very interesting results. Cloth dominated the tournament. Cloth and Charizard dominated the tournament. That's like the big story at Stuttgart with Cloth and Charizard dominating. Miraidon, Raging Bolt not doing as good. Drago didn't flop, but obviously not in top 8. That doesn't mean the deck is bad. It's still going to be very popular in Toronto. Same with Miraidon. Just because those two decks didn't perform as well doesn't mean they're not going to be good in Toronto. I think they will still be heavily played in Toronto nonetheless. But let me know what you think of the day 2 at Stuttgart. What was your favorite deck that made day 2? Let me know. A lot of really cool stuff made day 2, so I'm definitely excited to see what else can go on in Toronto Regionals. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below. We're on the road to 19,000 subs as always. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Leave a link to Limos down below if you want to go build any of the decks for yourself. And I'll catch you all later on another video. Bye-bye.